Kwao IV, chief of the significant little republic of Akwemu Edumasa. And I say, thank God it's Monday, a moment we have been waiting for to get over our Monday blues, a show that makes driving home such a pleasure. Most of you who by this time are driving home and just tune in and just makes the traffic even pleasurable. Radio's finest ritual, a ritual that brings great minds together, assembles patriots, and brews the nationalism in us. Welcome to the ritual I call That's My Opinion, only on Joy 99.7 FM. So let us all gather and make truth good. Our topic today, very sensitive, highly controversial, but it has to be discussed. Today we are looking at chieftaincy reforms. Folks, we are looking at chieftaincy reforms. The guns, the cannons have been turned to the palace. We are not firing from the palace outside. We are firing from outside into the palace. Folks, condolences and may she rest in peace. The passing of the Queen Mother and the smooth and seamless arrangement of her funeral in just 10 days after her death has called into question traditional authorities and chiefs in Ghana. The general public are wondering, should a big chief pass away in Ghana, could we have replicated plus and stew and gotten a replacement so smoothly? Valid question. Very valid question. Folks, but let me start by saying that at all costs, as we said last week, the institution of chieftaincy here in Ghana must be protected. Must be protected. But like with every institution, it must be relevant in its present time. The principles of the old must be kept, but in today's context. The times have really changed. Folks, the reasoning for the seemingly chaotic arrangement and the secrecy and the mystic were very much needed back then. The question is, are we still relevant, and are those things still applicable in the year 2022? Have we even sat down to find out why it is some of these arrangements were arrived at before we, bearers and custodians of culture, just carry on? Folks, some of the reforms I will propose will be too revolutionary and too radical, but I believe that in order to stay relevant, in order for chieftaincy to survive another 200 years, 500 years, we must look at them. We must look at them. Because the speed with which times are changing, the speed with which our children are getting enlightened, and the knowledge with which they are getting, if we are not careful, we will just become dinosaurs sat in the palace, believing we are doing something, but in actual fact, doing nothing. Folks, let me start on a lighter note, and I'll let you realize how far back we are. Folks, you see, before the advent of cars, we walked everywhere. If you had to go to a Akropong and you were in Accra, you walked. Simple. Simple as that. If you had to go to Asamankasi, you walked. So imagine you walked from Akwemu to Kumasi 2-3 weeks on foot. When you arrive, folks, the chances that you were dehydrated is very, very high. The chances that you were dehydrated walking from Akwemu to 3 weeks. You get to a river, you drink, and then you walk until you get to the next stream, So when you get to wherever it is you get to, the first welcome was water and maybe a little alcohol. Folks, you needed water. Fast forward to today. Folks, the era of luxury cars, some with even a cool box in it. the abundance of bottle and sachet water. When someone does the same journey from Akwamu to Kumasi, now instead of 3 weeks, they probably done it in 4 hours. What they need most is a phone charger. In the welcome package, what the people, the guests would need most is the phone charger. So the principle of welcome must stand. But what it is we welcome with should be relevant in today's time. I'm telling you, people come to the palace and you can say you need an iPhone or an Android charger or you need water. If you ask 10 people, probably 7 would request a little top up of their phone. So yes, we must welcome people who come to us. But how do we welcome them? Folks, the chief or the king is also a soldier and a commander at war for his people, who leads his people at war. Now back then, folks, conquest was quite rife. The struggle for territory and boundary was very real and harsh. You needed a brave warrior to lead you so you don't fall to other town. Because conquest is the legitimate claimancy of land. If somebody fought and conquered your king, that's it. He's taken your land and now you serve their king. And because of their pride and everything, everybody wanted to be on their own. Because every group of people had their own black stew that they rally around. If you're not careful and I defeat you, I take your black stew and make it a sub-chief and I keep you. People wanted their pride. So there was aggression. Folks, because of this, they created many stories, mostly of a mystic and superpower status about their kings. And this was to put fear in the enemy. The great Ansah Kwao IV. Folks, the great Ansah Kwao IV of Akwamu, oh my God, we are told he was fully bulletproof on the battlefield. He fought in a mahogany cloth. When traditionally most chiefs would be fighting in a smock, he fought in a cloth. And the cloth was in white of a nature. White is in nature. So he was even disguising himself. But we are told this cloth has its own wraparound mysticism. That when he wore the cloth itself wrapped around him. And he was nearly invincible. He was almost invincible. Folks, legend has it that when he was tired and wanted to rest, he will shake the cloth and bees will surround the area. So you dare not come within his zone because he was now being protected by bees. So folks, in a case like this, folks, when the guy is awake, he's invincible. When he's asleep, he's got bees protecting him. Now, this was the stories that put fear in the enemy's camp. He was so elusive. They say those at the front end of the battle did not see him. Those at the rear can swear that he's not on the battlefield. Yet those at the middle said they have just seen him pass. Folks, those at the front did not see him. Those at the back are swearing that no, he couldn't have led the soldiers to the battle. But those in the middle say no, he's leading them. Illusion. Folks, these are the stories around some of these warriors. So imagine going to war against such a general. Imagine you were going to war to face such a general. One who once upon a time issued a fatwa against all Europeans that unless they bring back his son, whom they had accidentally sold into slavery, he will not, and indeed stop them from trading. There was no more salt, slaves, or gold leaving the shores of Gold Coast unless they found his son. He had sent his son abroad to go and get some studies in the UK. When the ship got to Barbados, accidentally, when they were disembarking the slaves, they added him. And when he got the news that his son had been sold into slavery, he stopped all trade. And yes, they went back to Barbados, traced to whichever cotton farm, wherever it is, got his son and took him to the UK to go and continue his studies before he started trading. Imagine you are going to war, and these are the stories of the general you were going to face. So now, imagine such a king or a general dies. Folks, you don't hurriedly go telling your enemies that the general that they feared the most has died. Folks, you would keep it quiet until you find another general who that can fill these big shoes. And back then, every king worth his salt today, every paramountcy worth his salt, has a village. Every king has a little shack or little town somewhere, which is like a private village to whoever is an occupant of the stool. So in his long absence, if it's a bit unusual, the elders who are around would announce that he's gone to the village to rest. Or so far as he's alive and the general is there, the enemies were scared. That is the reason why when the king passes, is shrouded in secrecy and kept quiet. But today, folks, which one of us is bulletproof and sleeps with a blanket of bees? Who is going to attack Edumasa? If I was dead today, who will attack Edumasa? Folks, should your death be announced, who would attack your town? But yes, I strongly believe that the announcement should by all means come from your family or your quarters. They should at least be given that privilege and that honor and that respect to announce it. Somebody can just post it on their Twitter or Instagram or some radio station just getting up and saying that this person died. Hold on, it's my person. Let me just announce it. But it shouldn't be shrouded in secrecy and long stories where the body is kept in the morgue for years and years, brewing tensions, speculations, and litigation. That, I think we have moved past. Because the reasons for the secrecy is not applicable today. But the decency of your family announcing the death, that I think we should respect, no matter how modern we are. Folks, then we come to the issue of succession. Who should be made a chief? Who should be chosen by the Queen Mother and why? Folks, in the matrilineal system, anyone sane, sound mind, with good character, who traces their root to the first Queen Mother is eligible to ascend the stool, male or female. Now, as I've narrated, in the days of Ancestors Raku, the qualities they wanted in the king will be far different from today, even though we are still looking for a leader. So the principle is we are looking for a leader. That you can't shake that principle. But the times have changed so much that the qualities that we need today is not a chief that vanishes and bulletproof and sleeps with bees and, is elusive. No. Their time has passed. And that era, that is what we needed. They were able to create a history for us, create a land for us, create a state for us. Yedaomasi. Now, what do we do to move that creation, that inheritance forward? Folks, anyone who is interested in serving as a chief should start by serving from the bottom as a palace aide or what we call a hinkwa. You should be there serving from the bottom, helping with the little brollies, helping with arrangement, help with serving, help with receiving guests. You should be in the palace serving from the bottom. He or she must have formal education, folks, in environmental science, sociology, psychology, agricultural science, agricultural economy, land use, land economy, basic town planning, children and gender issues. Folks, before you can even be considered, you should arm yourself with these qualities at least to a diploma level. Folks, and let me throw in a course of leadership. Have a little course, do a little study, weekend course on leadership. Folks, if we don't realize the times we are in and the requisite qualities to face today's wars, we will instill chiefs who can only do their best, just like the Peter principle. But we don't want you to do your best. We want you to excel. We need you to develop more than what you inherited. We need you to direct us, put your foot down, be a change maker, a legacy hunter in the midst of harsh opposition to any change that you're going to bring. Oh yes, that's the new cancer. That's the new cancer. You will face resistance to any meaningful change you try to bring, but you must prevail. So families, folks, should meet and nominate potential candidates, so at least they can start in time. Now, I was talking to my good friend, good old friend, Nana Ukrukata. They are Kwamu Akradehene, Nana Ukrukata. And he says families should have a sort of a voting system to elect their suitable candidates. Families that are eligible to ascend the throne should have some sort of a voting system so that they elect the candidates that they want, so that the struggles won't be so much, folks. Now, why is the selection was left open in the past was because there were not many people back then. The families had not grown so much. They had just moved onto the land. They have just started their families. So, well, it was left open, and sometimes even the king was, you could just pick the king out of the lot because someone knows who's away there. As soon as he on one will be there. It was a bit easier then, even though there are issues of struggles, but not as it is today, when chieftaincy matters can drag for over 10 years. 10 years and over. As the families are growing, as potential candidates are growing, we should find a way in which we can eliminate and narrow the options to reduce litigations and struggle to ascend the throne. We must. Folks, in all honesty, the issues that disqualify a chief or a queen mother back then, it's not applicable today. Yes, if you were a thief, you don't ascend the throne, and if you're a thief today, you don't ascend the throne. But we should be open. Folks, I am saying if someone is visually impaired today and is educated, I see no reason why that person can be a chief. Because if the same person can teach the chief in the classroom, is smart enough to teach the kids in the classroom for the chief to come out and say, I'm an educated man, what makes you think that he was not wise, sharp enough to rule this town? Folks, if someone has a mobility impairment and is in a wheelchair and can rule the whole state of America, what's a wheelchair? Rule America. Why can't he rule a village or a town? Why can't he rule a town? But this may be too much for the decision makers. It may be too revolutionary, it may be too wild. But if we don't go there, we may be irrelevant. Because for what we want today, we must rethink. We must be bold to change. Change from the old. Maintain the principle, but change. The principles are the same, folks, but the times have changed. the default choice should not necessarily even be a man. In today that the families have so grown that you have male and female all educating themselves, you go and find some stools vacant. Why? They can't find a suitable man. Meanwhile, they have women who have excelled. They are doctors, they are businessmen, they have achieved a lot, but they are still in the maze looking for a man. And then what do? They say, well, and then you go there 10 years and the chrono, meanwhile, there were female there who could have done the job. Today, we are not fighting. We are developing. We are bringing enlightenment. We need networks. And the more you go to school, the more you have a network to help you build your town. And so if chiefs are going to be relevant today, so people don't ask questions and we must wake up, smell the coffee, and come to the table. And that's my opinion. What's yours? 0302216541. That was my opinion. What's your opinion? 0302216541. Okay, who's my first caller?
Nana.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, see, transition has been the problem. I keep saying this, Nana.
Mm-hmm.
While we evolve, we are not able to tell what we are doing away with, what we are holding on to, and what we are adding new.
Mm-hmm.
That has been the problem. Because if the world catch up to us, we resist it. You know, we are so stuck in our ways. And I always say, you can't be a revolutionary when you are so traditionalist. You are stuck in your ways. Definitely, it's not everything that we can hold on to whilst we grow. Some things will have to change, but it's not everything. You know, so how do we transit? That has been the question. How? What are we holding on to, and what are we letting go? You know, you see, the medicine part that you said, that one like this, I would prefer we shouldn't leave it. You know, because plant is God made, right? So if somebody have knowledge of it to manipulate it to protect us, why do we do away with it? Because of Yamesom. It doesn't make sense. So, Nana, how do we translate?
We'll start by talking. Good evening. We'll start by talking. 0302216541. Hello, who's talking to me?
Hello, this is Victoria, Lakeside Estate.
Come again?
Victoria from Lakeside Estate.
Oh, Victoria, let me hear you.
Please, I've also realized something, as you were saying. Women can vote, women don't have a say in chieftaincy. And I've realized that because most women are sidelined, some of them, as you said, you've been to school, you are qualified, you can decipher, you can help people, but because you don't have that voice, you are not given that position, you are sidelined. Even if something is going on and you want to say, they'll tell you, shut up, you are a lady, you are a woman. Northern part of Ghana, we can vote, but we don't have a share in the chieftaincy. They will tell you that women don't ascend the throne. So what you really said, it rings a bell. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Teresa. But yeah, women indeed have they have a voice. As soon as you become the Queen Mother, then your voice should be mute. That's the thing. You know, you have a voice, but as soon as you become the Queen Mother, your voice is mute because you now become the Chief Justice, and we all come to you, so you don't express too many opinions. Hello, who's talking to me?
Hello, Nana. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Nana Joa from Akropong.
Nana Joa, let me hear you.
Honestly, when it started, I was so sad because I am from Akropong, from Nana Dokue's family. And when I look at what is going on at the Chieftaincy or on the Chieftaincy, I don't know where to start. This morning, I was in the bathhouse when I was planning where to start because we need to talk. One room from all these people and look at what is happening. I'm so sad and I don't know what to do.
The Kropon is very close to my heart as the Queen Mother is my daughter. So probably I'm not. The Queen Mother is my daughter. Hello, who's talking to me?
Good evening, and I hope you're doing wonderful.
I'm good, Rajiman Joseph.
Yeah. And you've brought up your opinion, but it seems like I agree and also disagree to some certain level.
Good.
And gone are the days we know that Ofase, if there's a chief, whenever he dies, the Ofase is to succeed. And sometimes we even try to educate the Ofase so that we get a chief who is educated.
Mm-hmm.
But as you are saying, if the person is, let's say, the person is cautious, and he is the rightful person to succeed, so let him succeed. Because after all, the chieftaincy is not about fight. It's not about strength. Mm-hmm. It's about brains. Mm-hmm. And you are not the only person going to sit on issues because you have council supporters to support you. Mm-hmm. But is it not also going to be like this stool has been diminished because having somebody disabled to be a chief doesn't feel good for the chief for the stool? That's my one question.
Okay.
Also, if the rightful person has been denied based on one or two reasons, and we choose different person because they think he qualifies very well, is it not going to have special implications with the chieftaincy issues? Because do we also let the successor be aware, even at his or his tender age, that you are the next king or the next of kin, so behave well, so that the person would, upgrade himself? Or we allow the person to grow before we alert the person to be aware that he is going to succeed?
Well, thank you very much with all the multiple questions. But, back in the days, if somebody couldn't say, we say he was disabled. Case closed, he disabled. But today we are saying that disability is not inability. It's just that the person can't see. It doesn't mean he can't think or can't write or can't do anything. So if he has somebody to help him to do this and that, and I'm saying this because when I need to know like some of the intricacies, of Edumasa, the person I call is blind. And he knows where every tree is, where every stone is, which family it belonged to, who gave to them, why it Neniefra. So basically I'm sort of sometimes ruling through him, yet he can't see. It doesn't mean say he's a mental patient. No. Hello, who's talking to me?
Yes, this is Bansi Bosevas from the Upper West region.
Let me hear you, my brother.
I think it's such a lovely conversation, and I agree with you totally. I think anyone taking a read of the Foucault Joma book, In the Chest of a Woman, will really appreciate this so well. Because in that book, he creates a scenario where a queen was allowed to read, but in another breath, they could not allow a female to come to be the leader again. What an irony indeed. And I think, just as you said, we have to start thinking, and we have to really try to revolutionize some of the things that we have held on for a very long time. On the issue of persons with disability, I think it's a great point to be made, and more especially the emphasis laid on your reference point when it comes to certain critical issues. I think people have to understand that the world of the person with disabilities is not different from the world of those who call themselves so-called abled. We live in the same world, we share the same problems, we do the same things, and perhaps we may need some little effort from others to be able to do certain things. But it certainly does not mean that you are dumb. It certainly does not mean that there are things, it certainly does not mean you cannot do anything. So we definitely need to be able to do a lot of things in this particular sector and see how best we can make our country a better place by including everyone and making sure that we start from the experience and knowledge of every individual so that our society will be a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 0302216541. Hello, who's talking to me? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Who's talking to me?
Yes, sir. My name is Yao. I'm calling from Adenta.
Let me hear you, my brother.
Yes, so I was listening to your intro and I loved it so much. Just this afternoon, I was having an argument of the sort to my friend. I was asking him the relevance of chiefs. I was of the view, it was a bit extreme though, but I thought I was a bit extreme. I thought chiefs have outlived their relevance in recent times. And I think the reason was simple. Your arguments have made it clear to me now. And I was actually pushing the case that chiefs, in a way, have contributed to the galamsey menace we are trying to fight. And if there are any issues even in society and police gets involved, everyone will want to talk to the chiefs to go speak on their behalf. So I think your arguments are sound. I'm very happy you brought them up. Thank you.
Thank you very much that you tuned in. Hello, who's talking to me? 0302216541. Nana, thank you very much for this insightful conversation. Please, I want to ask if you ever thought of becoming president of Ghana. I'm president of Edumasa. I'm president of Edumasa. So with the issue of success, I think Ajima Joseph was asking, what I'm saying is that, you see, now the families have grown and extended and extended and extended. So there are families who have, maybe they'll have about 8, 12 people who are all of age and eligible for the stool. So if we don't create like an elimination by rough tactics kind of policies, so that you narrow it down, you can't just open it. You know, like the English have just said, look, the firstborn to the ruling king or queen, that's their rule. We don't necessarily have to do that, but we can do something. And I'm saying that even after we have done all that, we must insist that there are certain things that you must know. They are going to hand you over land. Do some land economy and, some land planning. You have land, you must have some basic agric economy and agricultural science. You must know it. Because they are going to give you land. They are going to inherit people. So you must know psychology and sociology. You're going to be a leader. You should do a little course in leadership. You're going to have women and children, and mostly in the rural areas, sometimes they are deprived. So some gender and children protection issues you should be aware of. You should spot, when people come into the town and as a chief, you should be aware. Concern yourself with the local schools. You must. You can't just assume, say, Yakofana Bediade, so he should know. How will he know? How will he know? So that if you are indeed, interested in, becoming the chief one day, equip yourself. And the Queen Mother should make sure that they see you equipping yourself in that line. So that eventually when you are handed over, you don't come as an ignorant person trying to do your best. Hello, who's talking to me?
Nana.
Yes, sir.
I'm Kwame.
Kwame, let me hear you.
Yes, Nana. Thank you for such an insightful topic. And I think, indeed, times have changed.
Yes.
Yes, what we used to do in a century ago cannot be done at this time. Yes, and also it is time that everybody is brought on board. Regarding persons living with disabilities, I'm trying to emerge into the larger society, and yet people are impeding their way. I think that I personally would always want to call, people as handicapped. Such that, Nana, take for instance, if you are giving a flight, an aircraft to pilot, and you don't have that expertise, are you not disabled in that context?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be applicable to everybody. The fact that somebody has an impairment doesn't mean the person is bereft of ideas, the person is empty. No, probably it is what in some time past, the erroneous impressions people have always held, and people are still clenching on to such. I think it is time indeed that we got to change and make sure that everybody feels a part of this society, and we will make this place a better place to live. Thank you, Nana.
Thank you too, my brother. Hello, who's talking to me?
Good evening, Nana.
Good evening.
So, I would like to look at this from this perspective. You see, let's say all that you are saying right now is done, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about the power? What power will this chief or king will? Because in the kind of world that we live in right now in this Ghana, all the power has been given to the president, to state institutions. So if a firm or an institution should come to a community with an accreditation to do something, most of the times these chiefs are not able to say no, what you are coming to do will harm the society in any way. So how about the power bit? What's going to be done about it?
Well, you see, there's no such thing as small power, my brother. Even if you have 1% of power, power is power. That's one thing. That's one good thing about power. You see, if you are a chief and you are confident and strong enough, and you are driving your people along, you are able to stop certain things from coming to your town. Say, I'm telling you, you can put your foot down and say, and you frustrate the person legally,
Nana,
without causing harm.
See, what you are saying, I understand perfectly well. It's true. But we live in a country where, say you are moving with a force, whereby your people will support you, fight against these people. They will go out there, come back to Accra, because this is where most of the institutions are. They'll come to Accra, and the next thing, when they are coming the next time, they are bringing security personnel.
Well, see, admittedly, maybe you can't win all the fights. But if the chief is equipped with proper knowledge, at least it gives you half a chance for us to move in the right direction. But some of the chiefs, only confidence. Just it is a DC Kraba Osro. Assemblyman, you go to some towns and the assemblyman is like the Oglozo there. There's a chief.
No, because of it's exactly what I'm saying. Power. Apart from Otunfo and the Achim King, that you go to Kumasi and Otunfo says that you are coming to do this project, and I think it's not good for the country. That or then a nice female, you can't do anything about it. I can't say same for majority of the things.
Admittedly, at a certain level, those boys have more power. Admittedly. But if you come down to our level, yes, you was some power beer, at least I say I can say no. I didn't bear Dumasa. I deal with me. Yeah, I deal with me. Look, Dumasa today, fine, maybe not government level, but if you call any chainsaw person to come to Dumasa, even the chainsaw person, you don't no crime. Chainsaw papa no cry to yana castle man. Okay, chainsaw Dumasa, he dare not. So you see, even at our small level, we can do something. Maybe when it gets too big, it will go above me. But all I'm saying is, at least let's equip chiefs to give their people half a chance. There's no such thing as a perfect rule anywhere. But at least let's give ourselves half a chance. 0302216541. Hello, who's talking to me?
Hello, Nana. This is Kwiko Pong.
Kwiko, let me hear you.
Nana, you are really spot on in your explanation of this chiefs losing that essence of power, and I believe that's what the caller just just witnessed, because we don't see the impact of our chiefs in our various communities. So the essence of chieftaincy in the 21st century has to be redefined. I believe that chiefs about 100 years ago, their duty is to protect their subjects. That relevance has not changed, but it's in a different dimension now. And that's what chiefs have to take on. Chieftaincy as an institution should not be seen as subservient to the central governance system, but it should play a complementary role. So it's time chiefs rally their subjects around them, see the needs in this 21st century, and try as much as possible to provide for them. And that's how we will see their essence. That's how we see how impactful they are in the society. And that's how we see how powerful they are. Now, a chief is powerful not by how strong and mighty you are, as you said some years past. A chief is powerful is how relevant he is or she is in the 21st century to his subjects and the society at large. Thanks so much, Nana.
Thank you too very much. Talking about relevance, last Thursday, Queen Mother of Edumasa, Nana Ansah Kwao IV. Now she organized the skills training, and so she got some women together and they learn how to do beads and learn how to sew. And in 5 months, I think 3 months, you'd be amazed what they came up with. And I was actually pleasantly surprised what they did. Just equipping them with some skills. Being relevant in today's times. So I want to say thank you to Mama Ateyi of there. Mama Blemeyi Afienyotonye of Afifi. If they are your Queen Mother, say thank you to them for me. I want to say thank you to Mama Bobby the Third. Mama Bobby the Third of Ho Bankoi. They graced the occasion and it made it very beautiful. Thank you to Pius Hadeji, who supported. The DCE, Mr. Jakum, who supported. The MP, Thomas Ampim, who supported. I want to say thank you to National Lotteries Foundation, who also supported. These are support in the right direction. So thank you to Efia Sewa for having the initiative and seeing it through. And today the girls have, skill. 3 months ago they couldn't sew. Today they have a machine they can sew. They won't go hungry again if they're serious. Relevance of today's traditional leader. Happy birthday wish. Happy blessed birthday to Mrs. Rita Efia Boatima and Mrs. Mina Amadou and Mr. Kofi Ansah of MTN. Wishing you all good things today and beyond from Hajia Nadia of MTN. Happy birthday to you. Judging from the response, I think you guys are eager for us to reform. We're becoming dinosaurs on you. We are becoming dinosaurs. Don't worry, we'll change. We promise to change. Folks, and the good people who say until the lions have their own historians, the tales of hunting would always glorify the hunter. Abeku Sankofi was on the ones and twos. Kofi Hayford is ready and coming to play us some songs.